Well, my name is Mihael Laiterer. I'm the ambassador of the European Union to the Republic of Korea. The European Union has 142 delegations, embassies, worldwide, and this is the second time that I'm the head of a delegation. The summit of ASEM was organized in 2000 in Korea, in Seoul. That's when I started to come to Seoul. And before that I served in the Austrian service, and I was in Africa, I was in Japan, I was in Geneva. So I have nearly 40 years of diplomatic career, and I'm happy that my last posting is here in Seoul. But I mean, is this series, how many ambassadors do you interview? Well, it's very interesting and never boring. My agenda is filled from the morning to the evening, and I also enjoy because, as I said, I started to come to Korea in 1999, and I see the development over 20 years. It's politically interesting because of North Korea, but also because the Republic of Korea is one of the leading economies worldwide. It is the 11th largest economy. It is the third largest, the European Union is the third largest trading partner for the Republic of Korea, and the European Union is the largest investor in Korea. So we have a very strong economic relationship, but we also have more and more a political and a security relationship, because we invite Korea as a strategic partner to work with us, not only bilaterally or regionally, but also globally. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the old one, former one. Well, the Asia certainly has another culture, but at the same time we live in a very globalized world. But when I compare European culture and Asian culture, then there is a difference in expression of culture. And also Buddhism, Hinduism has influenced Asian culture much more than European culture. So you also have a different architecture. The cities look quite different. In Europe we have much more old cities. Culture in the personal interaction, I think Europeans are very much a mixed society, because there was always migration in Europe over many years. It's not so homogeneous a society. Whereas here in Korea, for example, you are a very, very homogeneous society, mainly Koreans, and you mainly speak Korean, and this makes a difference I think in mentality, increasing populism. But as I said, we have the advantage that we have. Well, let me give you the European example. Because of the kind of conflicts which exist right now between Korea and Japan, we have set up the European Union. Because we also had the problem that countries were not on speaking terms. Germany and France, Germany and Poland, big problems. So what we tried to do was to find a way that people get together, people-to-people contacts. We worked very hard to establish common history books, so that there was no argument, so that the French agreed, the Germans agreed, and the Poles agreed on a history. Because then you already take out one of the main reasons here between Japan and Korea. Because you say, well, they did this and they did not excuse and they did not that. We managed to get over that in setting up the European Union, which was from the very beginning a peace project, and that was also recognized in 2012 when the European Union got the Peace Nobel Prize. This is the important message. And leadership. We achieved European integration because at the very beginning we had strong leaders of former enemies. And I think that's also something you need here. Determined leaders who said we move forwards because we don't want to repeat history.
The article will upload to Naver, which is
You mentioned the K-pop is getting more and more popular, especially France is very good. But there's also a lot of interest and a growing interest in the whole game industry, which is very strong in Korea and also in Europe. Many youngsters get interested in Korean language because they want to understand. So this is becoming a side effect. And I think then also people appreciate that the Korean Hangul is a very peculiar and logical way of writing. So that's what they also learn. Of Seoul, it is interesting because I made here 4 groups of books. This is a book, for example, which explains how the European Union works. So if somebody is interested, how the institutions work and and the institutions. This is a textbook. Another textbook is a critical introduction to European law, because as I was saying at the beginning, we are very much law-centered. So if you want to understand how the European Union functions, understanding law is important. But there is, of course, also thinkers. And one of the very interesting thinkers about European history and philosophy is Timothy Garden Ash, a British thinker from Oxford. And Facts Are Subversive. It's an extremely good book because we have now so much talk about fake news. Reading literature, but also facts, helps understand a culture. So before I came here to Korea, I was reading Korean literature in translation, either in English or in German. I think that literature is still important. Don't believe if you have something very short on social media that you learn a lot. Go to the source of information. Don't believe all the likes. That's not a good approach.